Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Nick's Garage. On today's episode, we're going to be retrofitting some Subaru GD headlights with some projector lenses. First of all, we have to open these up. Once they're opened up, we can modify the back end to retrofit the actual lenses themselves, which we'll show you how to do. It's pretty straightforward. A little bit of cutting, a little bit of dremeling, so we need to get it right first time. We don't get a second chance. But basically, we'll use a heat gun to open them up. We'll take off the screws on the back. There's about 7 or 8 screws that we'll need to undo from the back. Once that's done, the glue will be melted with a heat gun. Some people use an oven. I do prefer to actually use a heat gun. It just makes it a lot easier to regulate the temperature, which we don't want to overcook them. We can damage the lenses. We can also damage the tabs on the back and melt the plastic. So basically, we'll open them up. Once they're opened, we'll get them dismantled, get all the pieces out. We'll show you how to take the lens cover off, show you how to take the shroud off, take the indicator lens off, and then also take the actual light backing out itself. So once we've done all that, then we can get onto the painting bit. Okay guys, so first things first, we're going to remove a cap at the back, exposing the wires. The positive should pull off nice and easy, which it's not at the moment, but it should. We're just going to grab a pair of pliers and gently pull off the negative terminal and just give it a wiggle, and here it comes. And then we'll pull off the positive. We don't want to break it, so let's just be gentle with it, just being very stubborn. There we go. Pull the other bulbs out. That's 1, the indicator, 2, Parker, and these should slide out. So we're just gonna, now we've got the wiring harnesses off the back, we can set those aside, preferably put them in a safe spot. I like to have a little box with me. At the moment I don't, but we can just pop those to the side on the bench. We can take the high beam out. We'll also take the actual lens out, so just push it down, the pin comes up, and out slides the bulb. We won't be using these because we're going to use a different type of bulb, so if you break it, don't worry about it because you'll be buying new ones anyway. And basically now we can start undoing all of the, so got our impact driver just to make it all. But do it once, do it right, you won't have any problems in the future. Just for anyone who wants to know, behind this here, this bit of tape, there's one hiding. A lot of people will go to undo this one, or they'll undo them all. They'll forget about this one and they won't be able to separate it. So just make sure you do get that one. And once it's done, it should come off pretty easy. So let's just keep going. We'll get that one now. Get him out of the way. Don't worry guys, I'm not stripping the threads. I'm not stripping the head, sorry. Just takes a little bit to get it going, but once it's going, it's fine. Now there is, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 in total. Just make sure you do put them in a safe spot because you will need to reuse them. As I mentioned, I'm just dropping them into the backing cup, the housing. So take off the mount. It's just 2 screws. Behind that mount there's one more you'll have to access, and we got him, and that is all of them done. So we've undone them all. That's what our backing is looking like at the moment compared to before. And now we get the heat gun. Now we have our heat gun ready. we've got a setting on here. We want to turn it so that it's at the hottest point. We can just use, it's got 2 speeds, 1, 2. We can just use the first speed. It does take a while, probably takes about 5 minutes to 7 minutes to heat up all the glue to get it nice and soft. So we'll start on that, and then we'll speed it up a little bit to get the final result. Now you notice at the moment I'm actually not melting the glue directly. What I am doing is I'm heating up the plastic of the housing. That will transfer the heat into the glue. The glue will then soften, and then we'll be able to open it up. But at the start you actually have to heat up the plastic because there's no glue showing. The top's a little bit easier, the bottom does take the longest, which is why we start with that first. Once that's done, then the glue will soften enough to open it up. Now we've heated it up, what we want to do is just pry open, which I've begun to do. There's 1, 2, 3 tabs. So you just want to get the screwdriver in there and start separating. You can see it's already starting to come apart. So we'll just get going with that and slowly work our way around. Bit by bit, you can see on the screwdriver, you'll notice there's a bit of glue happening, but that's okay. I'm just cleaning up with some alcohol a bit later. Not the good type of alcohol, just the rubbing alcohol, prep alcohol, whatever you have. And slowly but surely the lens will come out. Now you'll notice there's some longer bits like that. You can just get your heat gun and basically heat it up, and it pulls away from itself. It makes a bit less of a mess. So we'll continue. So we can pull it apart, gently prying it. You might hear some cracks, which hopefully doesn't mean you've broken something. You'll get to a point where you can start easing it apart, just very gently, like so, and it starts opening up like that, and it is done, separated. So we've got the lens with the housing off, we've got the backing with the light housing still in there, and now we'll show you how to dismantle the rest of it. I will point out most of the Subaru GDs, they crack around the lens fitting, so we're going to have to do a slight repair on there. I've got some epoxy resin that we'll use. Once it hardens, we'll sand it back. You won't even know it's there. But for now, we'll remove the housing. Part of the housing can damage quite easily, so what we're going to do, there's a couple spots up here that get full with the glue. So what we want to do is make sure the glue is still nice and soft. Hit it with a heat gun again, and it should come out relatively easy. There's just one screw down here, which we'll take off now. Once you've undone that screw, it'll actually be loose. So it'll just be sitting in the housing, and do not apply any pressure. We should just be able to wiggle it out, which it's not coming. There's a little bit of glue on there, so we'll just heat this bottom corner up, and a couple spots at the top. Which now it should just pull out without too much effort. You do not want to put effort, and there we go. So now you can see we've got the housing out, which we're going to paint this a colour. We'll mask up the lens here. You can take it out, but if you do, it's more susceptible to cracking. And since we're going to be doing a repair on it, we don't want it to crack again. we're going to remove this lens completely and run some LED yellow indicator bulbs. Okay guys, so we've just done a small repair, you can see here. It's just with some JB Weld epoxy. Dries like plastic, we'll be able to sand it, get a nice smooth finish, and then some primer. So as you can see here, the lens is extremely cloudy. We're going to have to work that a bit using a headlight restorer kit. It's unfortunate because these headlights were actually pretty clean. I've restored quite a fair few, and generally the lenses aren't this bad. So it's going to take a bit of elbow grease to get them up, but we'll show you how to restore them. It's a 5-stage process. Need to buy a kit basically with different grits of sandpaper. It's got a lubricant, it's got a polish, and then it's got a sealant. Once it's sealed, it generally comes up pretty good. There'll be a lot more see-through than that. If that fails, we can get a set of new acrylic lenses off of AliExpress, I believe. They're about $220 shipped, which might be too much for some people. I'm contemplating it. I might give it a shot just to see how they look. Apparently the fit is pretty close to factory, doesn't need really much modification, pretty much a straight swap. One thing I did notice, it doesn't have the black trimming on the inside, so be interesting to see. If I do get a set, I'll let you guys know, but for now we're going to try and restore these ones. That'll be the last phase, but for now we'll continue with the headlight dismantling and the retrofitting of the projector lenses. Let's go. So now, as you can see, we've got it fully open. There is a reflector in here. We'll have to get rid of that. We'll have to take this part off as well, which also is renowned for cracking. If it does crack, it's not too bad because it's secured with a screw down here and one there, so you can line it up pretty much to be factory. Too much of an impact on the overall visual effect of it, but we'll give it our best and we'll try and get it off without breaking it. Let's go. Coming off. Screw number 1 doesn't seem to be cracked, which is a good sign. The other side is cracked. I've already taken apart one of these, and it was probably the worst of the two. This one's in a lot better condition, and I lied. There's actually 3. There's another one inside there, so we'll have to get that out gently, not to damage anything. That's number 3, and out it comes. This one's not cracked, which is always a good sign. It's come out in one piece. There it is. I'll just pop out the screws so we don't lose them, put them with all of our other screws. Up to about 15 screws now. There's quite a lot of them, but that's all right. Now, here's the tricky bit. So we'll pull out this lens reflector quickly. It's just one screw, which is down here. First we need to take off the backing, so you can see in there. We'll take this out. Just 2 screws for that part. It's 1. Oop, that's 2. So I've got both of them out now. That just comes out, that little housing. That's what houses the bulb and then secures it. We won't be using this again because the new projectors will come with their own kit. The third one is here. So we're just undoing. Take the screw out, pop the lens, and there it is. Just a little reflector so it doesn't blind people when you're driving. So now the back is completely bare. There is one rubber seal here, which will pop out now. So we'll use a little screwdriver, probably the one that we've got covered in glue, which is unfortunate, but I'll just have to remove that quickly. Take it off, and then just use a screwdriver just to pry it open. They're pretty durable, so just pop it from the middle. Just so you can see what I'm doing, popping it from the inner side to get a grip on it, and then that should dusty in there. We it is a seal, so it does capture a bit of dirt. Just pop it out, there we go. Seal, pop that to the side. Now we're pretty much down to the end. Now, here's the trick with these. So you've got your two headlight adjusters, 1 and 2. You have to undo those fully, which we'll do right now. I'll get my good old faithful rattle gun. So they're 8mm. Got our 8mm ready to go. And we'll just pop this on, which is proving to be tricky. There we go. So we just want to undo these anti-clockwise. That'll do. And again. Now we do need an 8mm spanner, which I probably don't have in here. I'll have to go grab one. Alright, got the trusty 8mm. So inside here, there's a little 8mm. It's like a countersunk bolt, something. Probably got that term wrong. Basically, you just need to back it off, and you'll see what I mean. It's threaded, and basically it'll push the housing. Push the actual housing towards the front to get the right angle. There we go. For some reason that's not working. I'll just tilt it forward a bit and we should get, yeah, there we go. That's better. Now, get the spanner in there. Let's take a little bit of time. Because in the most awkward spot, it's just accessible. You can see the thread will start to expose itself, and once it starts doing that, you'll be able to get a better grip on it. It'll give you a bit more space to turn the wrench. There we go. It's coming out nice and quick now. Now remember that I did actually tighten up the headlight adjuster. So I'll have to go back and fully loosen that until it undoes, and the whole housing will come out as one unit, both the low beam and the high beam. So we'll see that in a second. Now, quickly undo it. She's nearly out. Just so you can see how there's a little nut there. It's on a thread, and we're unthreading it from section of the housing. Pretty coarse thread, so it's not too fine. It's almost like a screw, I guess, rather than a bolt, the way it's designed, and the pitch of the threads. We're nearly there. A few more turns. I think we're there. Now we'll be able to back off this adjuster again. Alright, fully loose. It's about to come out. Gotta undo that adjuster a bit more. And it is fully out. Completely remove the inner housing. Now just beware, in here is where the thread for the adjuster sits, so we'll just pop that out. Don't lose it, because then you won't be able to adjust it again. And pop that to the side. Now the housing is fully dismantled, and you can see that was the thread that was inside the housing with the nut on it, the hex head. There's one adjuster there, you can see it, and the other adjuster is in there. So that's what we used the 8mm on the back of the housing for. So now we have it fully complete. Now what we're going to do with this section is I'm just going to scuff it up, give it a good degrees, because I can see there's some residue on here. It's like, I don't know if you can see that, it's like a rainbow sort of residue. Grey gloss black for this. Other ones in the past I've done satin or matte. Want to try something different, here we have our projector lens, and you'll see that on the back of it there's a thread. This thread will sit in that housing there. So we'll go in there, like so. And you can see the thread does not make it through. So basically what we have to do is take off 1, 2, 3 of these. To do that we'll use our Dremel and a little cut-off wheel. Good little tool, the old Dremel. This one's not a Dremel, it's a Bayer. My Dremel actually cooked itself after about 20 minutes, so don't know how good it is, but I just call this a Dremel. It's the same thing, just works a lot better, lasts a lot longer. So we'll cut these straight, 2 and 3, and then we'll be able to mount our projector. So quite a messy little process, but you'll see I've taken all those back flush now, and now we're ready to mount the projector. Once you've cut that, it's quite straightforward. Dusty. This is just a test fit projector. I've got brand new ones. This one I actually dropped when I took it out of the packet, so we're not going to use it. So basically we've got the seal here. I actually had to trim this one. There's a few different variants of the seals. This one was a bit thick, wouldn't give me enough clearance. Basically we mount it, we pop on the backing. This is what's going to hold it in, and we'll just get a few threads on it and then we'll align it. So basically I'm just doing a test fit now to see how it all lines up, make sure it's straight and sits flush. We might have to adjust it a little bit, but this one's looking pretty good, which is rare to get it first time. So it's upside down, we'll just spin it around. Now these projectors actually act as the low beam and the high beam at the same time. We'll just get some pliers and just turn it gently, gently. Don't want to crack anything, but it does need to be tight. Once I've lined this up and once they're done, I'll actually be putting some epoxy glue around it, just to hold it in firm. We don't want that backing out because it will be a problem. So, also as a disclaimer, these aren't ADR compliant. They work as good as normal lights, if not better, I would say, but they're not approved by the Australian Design Rules Standards Commission. So just be wary of that, you can get defected for them, but they do look cool. So we've mounted it in there now. There's no shroud on it. I'll show you the shroud once it's done. Looks fantastic. And we'll be running inside this one. See what my finger is? We'll be running an LED, a red LED. That'll be on the fog light switch, and then the high beams will run on this cable here, along with the low beams in here. So there is a little bit of wiring to do. I'm just going to prep these for paint. A bit of Scotch-Brite pad. Use a green one. You can use the red one. But basically, just give it a bit of a rub, and you'll notice instead of shiny, I don't know if you can see that now, it's nice and dull. This will just give the primer surface to grip on. So we'll just get those, all the chrome area, scuff it all up. It's nice and shiny, look at that. That was dull, and then just done. This one's a lot easier. Such a smooth surface. So get all the edges. Get it nice and sanded. You don't have to worry about these surfaces here because they'll be behind the shroud. Alrighty, that should do it. That's one. Grab the other one now. Same thing, you can see it's nice and shiny. And then that is, you can see it's not as shiny. Still a little wash, some wax and grease remover, get rid of all the residue, make sure it's nice and clean. We'll just give it a rub down with a bit of microfiber cloth, get all the residue off it, And then these bits are ready to paint.